Section 3, from skeleton to flesh and bones. Writing a course outline really forces me or you or anyone who does so to really organize their thoughts into a step-by-step methodology. It's too easy to just sit down and think you're gonna whip out a course in front of your laptop camera, only to figure out that you've missed things, right? Maybe you could have improved the order. There's so many things that you wouldn't have kind of optimized if you just sit down and try to create a course without a course outline, right? And I can follow along my course outline as I film, just like I'm doing right now, which makes it as easy as possible to ensure that I include everything that I wanted to get across, right? All of the most important points. And it makes filming feel so much more productive when you have a template yourself to follow, rather than just like kind of frantically, running around recording things, hoping and wishing that you had, included things you didn't. You don't really know what all you've included, and just trust me when I tell you, it's very, very easy to tell whether or not a course creator has created an outline and followed really a methodical kind of a methodology behind his course creation versus someone who is just kind of recording off the wing, right, off the cuff. And another added bonus is that people love having both videos and PDFs, right, or written notes as part of a course. It feels like you're getting more value, and you are getting more value, right? And it also gives people additional structure, which all humans crave. And some people learn better from, physical notes that they can print out and write on and things like that. Some people learn better from a video, kind of like expanding on it. And so you give the best of both worlds. And I suggest you do it this way from the start, right? It is more upfront work to create an outline, but having that, PDF or the outline, even in just like the Google Doc format, is so much stronger, right, for yourself than just creating, just simply creating videos without much actual kind of intent and organizational structure behind them. And so I like to think of the skeleton of your course as kind of the headers and the chapter titles. So for example, right, this is actually one of my courses that I created, the Facebook Ninja Masterclass, teaching people, everything that you need to know to create an independent source of income using Facebook ads. So you can see that the modules are titled here, right? Understanding Facebook ads and what works, plus vocabulary you need to know, plus the power of the Ninja Pixel strategy, right? And then you kind of open up this module, and then it has all of the resources, like if you want to download the resources, which are the PDFs. And then it also has videos here with basic thumbnails. And then it has resources in the form of buttons beneath each video if there are additional resources or software or tutorials that make things easier for people, right? So you can see right here again, understanding Facebook ads, what works, right? I literally just copy and pasted that from here. So I wanted to show you the actual kind of membership area, which we're going to be sharing with you guys, an upgraded version of this. The same membership area that you're actually a member of inside of DCS right now. We're going to be sharing that exact template with you guys that you can just make basic edits on, add your own logo, your own links, your own video links and things like that, that you'll be 100% ready to roll. It'll have all of the credentialing done, right, where people can log in. It'll have all of the access done for you. So it's going to be a really beautiful membership that's so easy to implement. We're going to be talking about that in just a few minutes, right? And I love this quote by David McCullough, right? Writing is thinking. To write well is to think clearly. That's why it's so hard, right? And so you can see right here, I actually included a chapter 1 resource for Facebook. You can see, we use the same exact things that we're doing at the top of the DCS stuff. We include watermarks just because we want people who are going to do less than ethical things to kind of know who spent the time creating this. But for the most part, right, this is just a Word document, right? There's some different colored text. There's different sizes in the headers. We've kind of emphasized things with color again, but it's more or less relatively simple, right? And so all we're doing really is organizing with numbered lists, right, by chapters and parts, and we're helping break our course into more bite-sized kind of consumable pieces that people can implement without feeling overwhelmed, right? So each chapter has parts. People are used to chapters from books and sections or parts. So when your students ask you about specific sections, right, they'll say chapter 1, part 1, or they'll say chapter 1, section 1. They say it naturally. So you might as well organize what people are, you organize your content by syntax that people are actually used to. So creating a detailed outline does take longer than simply recording videos like most course creators do, but what happens is it ensures a more beautiful, structured course, right? And if you don't organize your thoughts into written form, the outline will become scattered and it will be a poor quality overall, right? But if your course is beautifully organized, you're gonna benefit so much through word of mouth, right? I've had people email me and say, oh my gosh, like I've never seen true excellence like I've seen in, blah, blah, blah course, whichever one, right? They say I've bought a bunch of different Amazon courses, or I bought a bunch of different Facebook ads courses, right? And I've never seen someone with so much meticulous detail to organization, right? And it helped me so much follow along. I've gotten so many emails like that, right? So putting work up front is gonna make you more money in the end through a higher quality product, which entails a better user experience, which gives you more word of mouth marketing, which at the end of the day is going to be better for you, right? And so you can also give your beta testers just your written course outline, right? And see where their questions are, see where their suggestions for improvement are, right? And each time I make a course now, I ask successful students, who's ready to fully commit to my new course, right? To come on board as a beta tester for free. What I do is I create 5 chapters with around 10 parts per chapter, and a common temptation that you're going to have as a course creator is to just make like an hour-long video, right, with everything in it. But trust me, like that's not the best way you want to do it. Your refund rate is going to go down if you split your thoughts strategically into multiple videos. It's going to feel like your students are getting more. Theoretically, you could record just one 10.5-hour long video and make that your course. But people are like, it's literally one video. Like I just paid $1,000 for one video, right? And even though it would be the exact same actual information, perception matters, right? And you want to be strategic and intentional about mitigating your refund rate by making people feel like they got their money's worth, by giving them enough, right? And so even though it's the same exact content, you want to split it into multiple videos and you want to be strategic about it. And so my courses always start with an introduction that kind of explains the course. It explains the private student group. It talks about the importance of the private student group. We can see that right here, the Watch Me First, right? How to be successful with the Facebook Advertising Ninja Masterclass kind of introduces who I am for people who come from, more colder means of traffic, like Facebook ads, for example, who might just want to see what it is. So you might be saying to yourself, well, Kevin, why are you edifying yourself if people are already inside your course? Sometimes people join the course and they really don't know almost anything about you, right? It happens every single day. And I learned that kind of the hard way by people coming in. The refund rates were higher than we were expecting because we've always had kind of industry low percentages of refunds just because we really try to go above and beyond providing value. But one of the things we were finding was the people who were refunding just had no idea who I actually was or any of my kind of accolades or success or results that I'd gotten my students. And so, it's super important to explain kind of who you are, why it's important that they listen to you, the results you've had for yourself and for your students, and then also to explain the importance of the private group, right? It's so critical that your students join and participate in your private group, which is why we have, the student group instructions up in the top bar, super obvious for everyone who joins, right, how to actually do that. And then in your welcome video, you also want to kind of discuss how best to absorb the course content. Right? Should students implement as they go? Should they watch the full course before implementing? So you want to make sure that you kind of don't leave anything to chance and tell people the best way to kind of participate and absorb the content that you're creating. So I always like to include student success stories at the beginning of the course, as well as showing your new incoming students. What this does is it shows your incoming students that it's not only possible to be successful with the program, but that it's happening often. Right? And so we have an onboarding sequence of emails that just shows a ton of student success stories that we're going to share with you guys as well, just word for word. You just have to change it to your own, right? And we also, include some major success stories in the first video of the course as well, right? So you want to have each part of your course answer the main questions and objections for the majority of your audience, right? So if you, during your 15-minute consultations, figured out that most people are worried that they can't sell on Amazon from another country, then you want to address that in the first video because they're watching it to try to figure out whether or not it's applicable to them. And bonuses are kind of photos and illustrations, right? A picture does speak 1,000 words. People love quotes and stories, use them often. Summaries are incredibly important, right? At the end of each chapter, I like to do two things. Create a checklist and a summary. And again, you don't have to memorize this. Just look at the end of each chapter of DCS, or look at the end, of this chapter that you're reading right now. And you'll see a checklist and a summary. The checklist is kind of a list of the most important action items that your students need to have finished to successfully complete the chapter. And the summary kind of obviously summarizes the most important points from the chapter. And what that does is it kind of gives a sense of closure to the material learned, where people are like, oh gosh, I just watched that whole module, but I don't know if I got all the most important things. Like I was trying to pay attention, but it was like there was a lot there. So I want to, make sure that I got everything. And what the summary does is it gives them that sense of closure, right? It shows people what needs to be implemented, and it kind of checks off to actually achieve something and give them a feeling of success with the program. If you ignore the summaries and the checklists, people are just going to feel lost, right? They're going to feel overwhelmed, and there's no reason not to do it. It takes you an extra hour, right, to kind of pick out all the most important things, make a summary, and then make a checklist that they can literally check things off. It's like a feeling of accomplishment, like finishing a big assignment at school, right? And so you want to really only include the 3 or 4 things that matter most, because this allows people to adjust, right? There's a lot of chaos going on in people's lives. They probably have a family of some sort. They might have other businesses going on, and people are just constantly blasting them with emails and marketing and all this stuff, right? And so your purpose is to use your minimum viable offer to get them from point A, which is their current pain, to point B, which is their current desire, in the least possible time with the least possible effort. And then also bearing in mind that it's your responsibility as the course creator to manage human nature, right? And to help facilitate and make the highest possible probable chance that people are really going to implement the knowledge that you teach, right? So I hope you guys enjoyed this one, and let's get to the next.